He walked into that cafe thinking it was just another favor for his friend, a blind date he didn't even want. But what he didn't know was that the girl sitting by the window, with second-hand shoes and a nervous smile, would change not only his life, but his little daughter's too. This is not just a love story, it's a story about healing, second chances, and finding love where the world least expects it. Chapter 1. The Blind Date That Wasn't Meant to Be. Ethan Walker was the kind of man everyone admired from a distance, a tall, confident CEO with sharp suits, a calm voice, and eyes that had seen more storms than he'd ever admit. At 34, he had everything: power, money, and respect. Everything, except peace. 3 years ago, his wife, Emma, passed away suddenly, leaving behind their little girl, Lily, a 6-year-old with curls like her mother's and a laugh that could melt iron. Since that day, Ethan had built walls higher than his office towers. He lived for work and for Lily. Love, for him, was a closed chapter. Until his best friend, Ryan, barged into his office one morning with that mischievous grin Ethan had always hated. "Bro, I need a favor," Ryan said, dropping onto the couch. "You know that charity gala I skipped? I promised this woman I'd go on a blind date. But something came up, can you go in my place?" Ethan raised an eyebrow. "A blind date? Ryan, do I look like I have time for? Come on, man. It's just coffee. You'll be in and out in 30 minutes. Say you're me, keep her company, then leave." Ethan sighed. He didn't want to. But Ryan had been there for him through everything, even during Emma's illness. He owed him. So, against every instinct, Ethan agreed. The next day, the cafe was quiet, tucked away in a street filled with little bookstores and flower stalls. Ethan arrived early, just out of habit, and sat by the window. He expected a woman with designer clothes, a bored face, maybe someone looking for another business connection. Instead, she walked in wearing a plain white dress, slightly faded from too many washes. Her shoes were scuffed, her hair tied in a messy ponytail, and she held a small, nervous smile that reached her eyes. For a moment, Ethan forgot to breathe. She looked around, clutching her small purse tightly. When their eyes met, she gave a shy wave and walked over. "Ryan?" she asked softly. He froze for a second, then nodded slowly. "Yes, Ryan. I'm Clara," she said, sitting down. Her voice trembled, but it was gentle, like the sound of morning rain. "I'm sorry, I'm not really used to things like this." Ethan smiled despite himself. "Neither am I." As the minutes passed, something unexpected happened. She talked, not about herself, but about life. About how she worked 2 jobs to take care of her little brother, how her dream was to open a bakery one day, and how she still believed that kindness could change the world, even when the world wasn't kind back. Ethan found himself listening more than he'd spoken in years. She laughed easily, and when she did, something cracked open inside him, a warmth he thought had died with Emma. When she noticed the expensive watch on his wrist, she looked embarrassed. "I'm sorry," she said quickly. "You must think I'm so ordinary. I know I don't belong in places like this." He looked at her, really looked at her, and said quietly, "You belong wherever you are, Clara." She smiled then, that same soft, trembling smile that would haunt him for weeks to come. When they finally parted, Ethan didn't even realize how much time had passed. She walked away down the street, sunlight catching in her hair, and he stood there watching like a man who'd just woken from a long, cold dream. For the first time in years, Ethan didn't go back to his office. He went home early, and when Lily asked why he was smiling, he just said, "I met someone unexpected." He didn't know her story yet. But something deep inside told him that he wanted to. And maybe, needed to. Chapter 2. When Worlds Collide. A week later, fate struck again. Ethan was driving Lily to school when his car broke down near an old neighborhood. He called a tow truck and decided to wait in a nearby bakery for coffee. As soon as he stepped inside, the smell of vanilla and cinnamon hit him. And then he saw her. Clara, hair tucked under a flour-dusted cap, laughing with a little boy while wiping the counter. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Their eyes met, surprise, disbelief, then something warm and unspoken. "Ryan?" she asked again, but this time there was a question in her tone, like she wasn't sure. Ethan hesitated. He couldn't lie anymore. My name's not Ryan, he said finally. It's Ethan Walker. Her face fell, the light in her eyes dimming. So you lied to me. I did, he admitted. But not for the reasons you think. It wasn't a game. I didn't expect to feel anything. She turned away, voice trembling. People like you don't feel for people like me. Before he could answer, Lily tugged on his sleeve. Daddy, she's pretty, she whispered loudly. Is she your friend? Clara blinked in surprise. Daddy. Ethan nodded slowly. Yes, my daughter. Something in Clara's expression softened. She crouched down to Lily's level, smiling. Hi, sweetheart. Do you like cupcakes? Lily grinned. Only chocolate ones. Clara laughed, handing her one from the tray. Then you're in luck. And just like that, the tension melted into something simple, something real. Days turned into weeks. Ethan started visiting the bakery often, sometimes for coffee, sometimes just to see her smile. Clara tried to resist, but she couldn't deny how he made her feel seen. Not for what she lacked, but for who she was. Still, she was scared. He was a CEO, a man from another world. She had nothing but her dreams and a tiny bakery she shared with her brother. Then one day, she found a man from Ethan's company outside, offering to invest in her bakery, with a contract that would give them full ownership. She realized it was one of Ethan's board members, trying to help, without his knowledge. She refused. When Ethan found out, he was furious, not at her, but at the man. He drove straight to her shop, apology in his eyes. I didn't know, he said. I swear, I'd never let anyone take advantage of you. I don't need your pity, Ethan, she said quietly. I just wanted to be enough, for once. He stepped closer, his voice breaking. You're more than enough. You're the first thing in years that's felt real. She looked up, tears in her eyes, and for a long, silent moment, they just stood there. Two people from different worlds, bound by something neither of them had planned. Months later, when the bakery reopened after renovations, it was twice its size, not because of his money, but because of her dream and his support. Clara was standing behind the counter, wearing her apron, when Lily ran in shouting, Mommy, we sold out again. Ethan walked in behind her, smiling. Clara turned to him, that same shy smile now full of warmth. He took her hand. I went on a blind date for a friend, he said softly. But I found the love of my life instead.